Hey guys, welcome back to FT STEM Tutorials. It's me, Jake Marshall, and I will be showing you guys the 3D design setup for your FT Gremlin. So the previous one was the 2D using a 2D CAD software, and now we'll be using the any type of 3D software. There's a lot of cool ones out there. There's obviously the expensive ones with some free additions like Fusion and SolidWorks and Inventor. But there's also some free ones too, like Autodesk 123D usually has a decent one. Tinkercad has a good one too that you can mess around with. The one that I like to use that I teach my students is the free version of PTC Creo Direct Elements. If you see up here, it's called Direct Modeling Express, and the links are all in the lesson to download the software. I really like it. It's easy on the computers. It doesn't require a whole lot of virtual memory. It doesn't require, if I got that right, I could be wrong. For those of you computer guys out there, it doesn't take up much of your computer, if that makes sense, to run it. And it does exactly what you need and more. And I think the limit is 65 parts or something like that. And there's no way that your kids are going to design something that's going to be 65 or more parts onto one drawing. So I love it. I teach it to them. The kids love it. It's fast. They can download it at home and they can get right to it. Speaking of getting right to it, let's get right to it. So what we did is we created a super basic, and this FT Gremlin that you see here on Thingiverse that we put up for you guys is by no means like this unbelievable engineering piece of work. It is something to just get you guys going, and it's been something that's been requested by a lot of our teachers and even some of the followers saying, hey, can you put some STL files? Just something to get us going. Yes. And so in the Thingiverse file, under Thing Files, you will find the 3D Gremlin Base STL and the 3D Gremlin Top STL. Now, both of these platforms have been tested, and depending on what your 3D printer does will kind of depend on how big you need to make those holes. So, I mean, yes, you can make those holes exact, but some printers will plot a different size filament, making those holes a lot smaller than what it is. I always like to venture on the side of small because I can always drill them out later if I need to. It doesn't hurt anything. So I got them on the small side, and there's also the STL files here so you can download, and then I also got the package files that go with the PTC Creo Elements software that I'm using. So I'm going to go with the base, and I'm just going to click it and download it. You see it downloads over there. I'm going to go up into my PTC Creo, and I'm going to say open. Go to my downloads, and PTC Gremlin Base. Now what that does is that brings in, just get rid of this, that brings in the platform that I went ahead and designed. Now the front of it is meant to be here, and the back of it's meant to be here. But as you can see, you can 3D orbit around by clicking the middle roll button of your mouse, and then you can easily pan by right-clicking and panning around your object. Now you're not moving your object, you're just panning the view of the surrounding object. Okay, and so you guys can either work off of that one, or you could do another one, which is just the whole layout. So I'm going to go ahead and download that one, and I'll show you what this drawing looks like. I'm going to say open. Actually, I want to start a new session because it'll put it right on top of that. Yep. And I want to open the whole layout. So now, as you can see here, it looks funny. It's not funny. It's just the way the isometric view is. If you go up in the top here, you'll see under Utilities, under Modeling, you'll see this kind of green highlighted box. It says View by Current Work Plane. This drawing that you have here, this rectangular piece, is your work plane. So what we're going to do is we're just going to click it there. Now, as you can see, we've got kind of like an X formation going, and believe it or not, this is actually TJ's Gremlin that we've imported into PK so that you guys can have at least the hole placement. And so that's why if you guys want to start straight from scratch, you can do that. And if you want to do or work with the already 3D part, you can work with that one as well. I'm just going to work with this one for right now, and just to kind of base off that and work off of that and kind of see where we go. Now in the 2D version I came up with the 2D CAD, or not 2D CAD, in the 2D CAD version I came up with an H quad. Now for me, I'm just going to, once again, keep it simple, keep it basic, and I'm going to just alter what I have here. If you want exactly what you see here, then all you have to simply do is go over to your model and click pull. Now when you click pull, you can make this thing as fat as you want, and for the most part, if you are working with millimeters, and I like to work with millimeters when I'm doing this, so if you go down to the bottom right here, you click units and make sure that you are in millimeters. And when I pull, I usually like to stay around the 4 millimeter mark, so I just type in 4 and click OK. Now you'll notice that I've got my kind of like a ninja star looking quad there. So I'm just going to hit Control Z and bring it back, go back to my work plane, and let's draw something up. So what can we do? Now remember, you can always put in those guidelines just like we did in 2D, because you always start with 2D first. Always start with 2D first. And if you're not comfortable with millimeters, you can always go back. But you're always going to want to try to do as much as you can with the 2D version before you go into 3D, because once you go 3D, it's you're in a whole other ball game, in a whole other realm of designing. So I'm just going to draw a circle here, and I'm going to do a 2.3 circle. Now this is going to be a radius, so if we did half of 2.3, it's roughly around 1.15. So I'm going to click there and click here again, go up to my 1.5, or I could just type in 1.5, and you'll notice that in the dimension box it actually types it in. And I'm going to go here too and type in 1.5. And all I'm doing is I'm figuring out where the props are being placed and what I have to do to get around these holes. Click and hold down Shift, and you can click these boxes, click these lines, and if you notice that my little cursor has a select the middle button, so I'm going to select my middle scroll, and it gives me some stuff I can do. You can say rotate in 2D, you can split, you can offset, you can move, you can do whatever you need to do. And what I want to do is I want to move. And I'm going to grab the center of this and I want to move it out. And I want to keep it on there. Look at how PTC kind of keeps everything locked in. So I'm going to move it out, and I'm going to move it out just a little bit longer. You know what I forgot? I forgot to carry my propeller with me. It's kind of important. So I'm going to do this, go over here and say move. And I'll probably just move it out just a little bit because I want to be able to see my quad, or my front of my quad. So I'm going to select that again. I should have just kept on it. Now what I'm doing here is I'm just moving up and down on my scroll button. And all I'm doing is holding down Shift, and I'm selecting all my parts. Click it again, and I'm going to hit rotate. Click my center again. And I'm going to go until I hit about 32 degrees, which puts me pretty flat there. Okay, and then I'm going to keep this guy like that. Draw maybe a line. Ooh, that's kind of cool. And all I did for line was just click the line tool up here. There's no typing, so the difference between this one and CAD is in CAD, I'm keyboard literate, so I like to type in all my commands. This one you have to use the menu. In Modify in 2D, you can go to Trim, go down to where it says Delete, and you just hover over the piece that you don't want, and you can actually click it. I'm liking this. This is kind of cool. Alright, so now the next one is I'm going to actually delete these guys here instead of having to change it all. And all I'm doing to delete is just by simply selecting it and hitting the delete button on my keypad. Alright, once I have this, I'm pretty satisfied with what that looks like. I'm going to draw a line here. Now the only reason why I'm drawing this line, and I'm not giving it any dimension whatsoever, just going up, hit escape, is that I need something to mirror over. Alright, so now that I have this piece, this left side of it that I like, and I like to do shortcuts because you don't want to have to draw everything, And if you start drawing the other side, you might mess up and actually do a line different than you did on the other side, kind of altering your performance of your quad. So what I want to do is I want to click More, and I want to click Mirror. Now when I go up there, I want to click Elements, so make sure that I'm on Elements, and I'm going to now select all my pieces of this quad while I'm holding down Shift, and all I'm doing is left clicking everything. Once I have that, I'm going to click the middle button. Now once I click my middle scroll button, it's going to ask me now 2 points, edge, vertical, center. I'm going to say vertical, and I want to vertical it over this guy here. Alright, and once I have that, I'm going to say OK. Whoa, this looks cool. So I'm going to go ahead and click that line. I'm actually going to leave that line there, and the reason being is that I'm probably going to be doing some more mirroring. Okay. Alright, so now I got something brewing here. This looks kind of cool. So I'm going to have my ESC sit down flat on my arms. Okay, and I'm going to have my ESCs facing this way, and I'm going to have my camera mount facing this way. Pick probably in here, and I'm going to type in 0.07, and I'm going to pick right. That's where my ESC is going to go, so I'm probably going to pick somewhere where my ESC wires can get through. So maybe I pick something on the left over here, and I say 0.07. Okay? Alright. So now I go ahead and pick mirror. Make sure I got my elements picked. I'm going to pick this guy, and I'm going to say vertical. Oh, I should have picked the other one too. Mirror. Vertical. Say okay. Okay. And the next thing I might want to do is just kind of put some cool spacers in there. Lighten this thing up. Alright, so now that I got my holes there, and that's going to be for my spacers or my standoffs, I'm going to click in between each one of these. And this is where we were talking about in 2D, knowing where your quad is going to lie for the center of gravity. That is probably not going to be a very efficient quad. I mean, I could be wrong. It could be fun. But I definitely see a potential issue with this thing just because the crisscrossing here. I'm going to have to put my power distribution board, and my F3 flight controller right in the middle here, which is probably not going to be ideal, but I'm going to stay with it just for kicks here, just to show you guys how to do this. Now you can do some really cool stuff in here. You can put some holes and ribs in here, and I'm just going to, for the sake of it, I'm just going to put some, and all I'm doing is I'm going to the edge here, and I'm picking these holes. Okay, I'm just doing random holes here, guys. This doesn't really mean anything, just to show you what you can do. Okay, and I'll probably just keep it like that. We'll go mirror. Picking all these pieces. And I'll do vertical. And if you notice, I've kept that vertical line the whole time. Okay, now that I have this, and I think I'm good, I'm going to get rid of my props. And if you also notice too, I haven't done anything with my top plate. Alright, so now that I have this and I got rid of my propellers, now I just want to see what it looks like going up. Let's just pull it. So if you pull it here, you can actually now give it some depth. Now I'm going to click down on my scroll ball on my mouse, so I can move it around here and see what I got. And let's go 0.2. Maybe let's go 0.18. Alright, now we're looking pretty cool. Alright, so there you have it. Base plate. I can click these work planes to get rid of them so you guys can actually see it. Not too bad. This is something I wouldn't print though, but it's just something to get you guys going. Alright, so I got this drawing up, and the next thing you can do, which is kind of cool, is you can do some really cool blends. So if you click this blend tool up at the top under engineering, you can actually go and click the line here and actually drag it. And you can put some pretty cool blends into your drawings. Now you'll notice that that one was too big. So we'll make it a little bit smaller. And I'm going to probably just keep that same dimension going. Now in 3D we call it blend. In 2D we call it fillet. Now with 3D printing, especially any of these really sharp points, they're going to have some issues. And the reason why they're going to have issues is just the way it is. If you hit something hard, you're going to create a stress point in your quad, and you don't want to do that. So all I'm doing is I'm just using the same fillet, or sorry, same blend. And that might be too much. We'll calm it down. I like that, and you just change them by just grabbing the arrows and doing whatever you want with them. But as you can see, it's super fast. You don't need a whole lot of graphics to do this. And you've got yourself something to play around with. So now the next thing I would do is I would then go ahead and, if you want to build your quad all in one piece, you can. And I know there's a lot of printers that do a really good job without doing any supports. Like Lulzbot does a really good job of printing something that doesn't really have a whole lot of supports. So instead of doing standoffs, you can actually do your own. Whole quad all in one piece, which actually might be kind of cool too. But anyways, that is how you create your base, and in order to create your top, you would do the same thing. You would just save this, and to save it, let me show you guys how to save it, because this can get kind of tricky saving. I don't know why they do it this way, but this is how you do it. You go File, Save, and to save it as a package file so you can come back to it and edit it, name it FT Gremlin or something. Put it on your desktop. You gotta make sure you click all objects. Once you've done that, now you can go ahead and click save. Alright, now when you do that, I'm just gonna go back over, and for those of you PTC people, you're probably gonna be, no, don't do that, there's an easier way. I've already saved my flat part, so I'm gonna click this and say draw. I'm actually going to go over the top view here and draw my top plate. Now this is how I'm going to draw it. Get a line tool, and I'm going to put my camera right in front of this. So I'm not going to, whoops, go back to the line tool here, right on the edge, and bleed right on top of this. Now I'm not really even thinking about all my pieces and my equipment that I'm going to put on here. I'm not really even thinking about it. And if I was to do this for a final, I would definitely look at I would definitely be looking at those pieces and making sure that those are in place. I'm going to go ahead and draw all these circles too, because I'm going to have screws on top. So there's my top plate. Not quite. Go ahead and pull it, and I'm going to pull it up another distance of 0.18. Okay. Now, what I do is I pick the bottom here, and all I do is I make a square over it, and I pull it this way. This is how you can subtract. And the reason why I'm doing it this way is because I want to show you guys how to subtract. That's how you subtract. So if you want to take something out of a drawing, that's how you do it. You can draw an object to carve out of another object. So it's almost like you have to think about it as a piece of clay, and you're just trying to, take pieces in and out of it. Well, there's my top plate. Done. I can do probably some cool logo or something like that. Maybe another cutout on here. Real quick, I'll show you guys how to do a cutout. I'm just going to do a crazy design. Doesn't mean anything. I'm just showing you guys what you can do. Okay, so here's the crazy design, and all I do is when I pull it all the way through. So I can pull it like halfway into the object, like that, or I can grab it and I can pull it all the way through the object. Say OK, delete my work plane, then I got this kind of cool looking piece. Guys, there are so many things you can do with PTC. I hope that you guys play around with it, and I know there's a lot of others out there that you guys can use to help you guys out with this adventure into design your own Gremlin in 3D. 3D is definitely a lot cheaper than the laser cutter. A lot of you guys can purchase the laser, the Forge on, at Flight Test is only like $3.99. There's other ones that are around the same price that you can do all this stuff with. And you can for 3D, you guys can create some pretty amazing stuff. Have fun with it. Go wild and test the different, test the limits of the structural integrity of all the pieces that you make. And like always, guys, share your builds with us, share your designs with us. The kids would benefit from all these, share your secrets too. Help each other out and help the hobby grow. And I hope to see a lot of these 3D Gremlins around. And thank you guys for supporting, and we'll catch you next time.